Hello folks, this is Tejasvi back with another video. In today's episode of News in Focus, Amazon investing 10 billion US dollars to compete against SpaceX in satellite broadband. Panasonic cells for Tesla will get 20% energy boost. Google is building a new private subsea tunnel between Europe and the United States. Nvidia in advanced talks to acquire ARM. Microsoft is reportedly in talks to buy TikTok's United States operations. Microsoft to cut Cortana from Android, iOS, Invoke, and more. Apple vendors Samsung propose 11 trillion mobile production in India. Maruti Suzuki sells every second car digitally. Apple confirms new iPhones won't arrive in September. Huawei overtakes Samsung as the top handset maker. And finally, PUBG Mobile announces major changes to data storage and privacy policy in India. Here we'll discuss these one by one. Now the first news. Amazon investing $10 billion to compete against SpaceX in satellite broadband. FCC approves Amazon plan to offer low latency internet with 3,236 satellites. Amazon has received US approval to launch 3,236 low Earth orbit satellites for its planned Project Kuiper broadband service. The Federal Communications Commission order granting Amazon application was released Thursday. Amazon said in a blog post that it will invest more than $10 billion in the project. The planned satellites would orbit at the altitudes of 590, 610 and 630 kilometers, allowing latencies far lower than traditional satellite services that use geosynchronous orbits of more than 35,000 kilometers. That's similar to SpaceX Starlink, but SpaceX is much further along as it has launched about 600 satellites and is getting ready to start beta trials with customers. Service to begin once 578 satellites launch. FCC rules give Amazon 6 years to launch and operate 50% of the licensed satellites with a deadline date of July 30, 2026. Amazon would have to launch the rest of the licensed satellites by July 30, 2029. Amazon plans to offer broadband services to customers once the first 578 satellites are launched, the FCC said. Amazon hasn't said when the service will be available to customers. Panasonic cells for Tesla will get 20% energy boost. Panasonic plans to give battery cells for Tesla electric cars a 20% boost in energy density in 5 years, Reuters reported Thursday. That time frame could potentially line both the Tesla Model 3 and Model Y for a boost in range, performance, or both at that time. Tesla could at that time choose to make packs smaller and lighter with the same battery power. Tesla and Panasonic recently renewed their long-term supply agreement, including a 3-year battery pricing deal. There has been continued concern that battery supply might strain under ramped-up Model Y production. Panasonic said last year that it could run out of batteries, aggressively expanded Model Y sales. And that was before Tesla announced plans for the Cybertruck pickup, which is scheduled to start production in 2021. All this leads to the decision outlined by Musk last week that using lithium iron phosphate batteries from China's CATL in some Chinese-made Model 3s helps free up enough high-density cells for the Semi. We're still waiting to see how Tesla's 2019 purchase of Canadian battery supply and its reported focus on developing its own cells factors into all of this. Google is building a new private subsea tunnel between Europe and the United States. Technology giant Google will build a new subsea cable called Grace Hopper. Built by Subcom, the cable will go live in 2022 and marks Google's first cable to Spain and its first private cable route to the United Kingdom. Grace Hopper is Google's fourth wholly owned cable and will provide increased reliability and support in outages. Google today announced that it plans to build a new subsea cable with landing points in New York in the United States and Bude, UK, and Bilbao, Spain, in Europe. The new cable, named after the pioneering computer scientist Grace Hopper, will join Google's various other private subsea cables like Curie between United States and South America, Dunant between United States and France, and Equinor between Europe and Africa. The new cable is scheduled to go online in 2022 and will be built by Subcom, which Google also contracted for work on its Dunant and Curie cables. Coming next, Nvidia in advanced talks to buy SoftBank chip company ARM. Nvidia Corp is in advanced talks to acquire ARM Limited, the chip designer that SoftBank bought for $32 billion 4 years ago, according to people familiar with the matter. The two parties aim to reach a deal in the next few weeks, the people said, asking not to be identified because the information is quite private. Nvidia is the only suitor in concrete decisions with SoftBank, according to the people. The deal for ARM could be the largest ever in semiconductor industry, which has been consolidating in recent years as companies seek to diversify and add scale. But any deal with Nvidia, which is a customer of ARM, would likely trigger regulatory scrutiny as well as a wave of opposition from other users. Some people might not like that Nvidia is acquiring ARM. It's quite obvious. Whenever you take a decision, there are going to be likers as well as haters. No final decisions have been made, and the negotiations could drag on longer or fall apart, the people said. SoftBank may gauge interest from other suitors if it can't reach an agreement with Nvidia, the people said. Representatives from Nvidia, SoftBank, and ARM declined to comment. Microsoft is reportedly in talks to buy TikTok's United States operations. President Donald Trump reportedly plans to direct China's ByteDance to divest itself from the vital video app TikTok's US operations. Microsoft is in talks to buy the stake, according to multiple reports. Some US investors recently valued TikTok at $50 billion. In a statement to Business Insider, a TikTok representative said, "While we do not comment on the rumors or speculation, we are confident in the long-term success of TikTok." Microsoft has always declined to comment. Immediately after this news came, another news came from Trump. Yes, America's President Trump. President Donald Trump said that he will take action as soon as Saturday to ban TikTok, the popular Chinese-owned video app that has been a source of national security and censorship concerns. Trump's comments came after published reports that the administration is planning to order China's ByteDance to sell TikTok. There were also reports Friday that software giant Microsoft is in talks to buy the app. As far as TikTok is concerned, we are banning it from the United States, Trump told reporters Friday on Air Force One as he returned from Florida. Trump said that he could use emergency economic powers or an executive order to enforce the action, insisting that I have that authority. Of course he has the authority, he is the United States President. He said it's going to be signed tomorrow. Well, if there's no TikTok, there are no talks with Microsoft. Simple as that. Something which is a security threat, something which is a threat to the national security of the nation, should not be allowed, in my opinion. And with that, folks, United States is one of the largest markets of TikTok. India already banned it, United States about to ban it, and China, of course, is the #1 market. So that leaves TikTok in a very weird position, if I can say that. Microsoft to cut Cortana from Android, iOS, Invoke, and more. Microsoft is ending support for Cortana, the digital assistant that was available to download from the Play Store or App Store. Ending support for Cortana on even more devices. Microsoft is ending support for the Cortana app on iOS and Android. Microsoft is ending support for Cortana on the Harman Kardon Invoke speaker. It's the smart speaker, guys, from Harman Kardon. Microsoft is ending support for the current version of Cortana on the original Surface headphones as well, which is a shocker. Microsoft announced several cuts coming to Cortana, its digital assistant, today, including ending support for third-party Cortana skills, Cortana apps on iOS and Android, and Cortana support of the Harman Kardon Invoke speaker. These cuts come as a part of Microsoft's shift of Cortana towards a productivity-centered assistant. Cortana support for various devices won't be cut off at once. Cortana skills will no longer be supported as of September 7, 2020. In early 2021, Microsoft will stop supporting the Cortana apps on iOS and Android. Harman Kardon Invoke speakers will lose support for Cortana January 2021. In a boost to Make in India campaign, Apple vendors Samsung propose 11 trillion rupees mobile phone production in India. iPhone maker Apple's contract manufacturers as well as firms like Samsung, Lava, Dixon have proposed to produce mobile devices and components of over 11 trillion rupees in the next 5 years under the government's new scheme to boost electronics manufacturing. Folks, devices are just being assembled in India. Products are being imported from China, as in the raw materials like the chipset, like the motherboard. Everything is being imported from China. But with this, Make in India would get a significant boost, and even the chipsets could be made in India with this move. The proposals submitted by the companies to the Ministry of Electronics and IT to avail benefits of the production link incentives are expected to create 12 lakh employment opportunities, 3 lakh direct and around 9 lakh indirect jobs. Foreign companies that have submitted proposals for the scheme include Samsung, Foxconn, Honhai, Rising Star, Wistron and Pegatron. Foxconn, Honhai, Wistron and Pegatron are contract manufacturers of Apple iPhones. Taiwan-based Pegatron is the new investor in India. Apple and Samsung account for nearly 60% of global sales revenue of mobile phones. Post-lockdown, Maruti Suzuki sells every second car digitally. Maruti Suzuki, which has witnessed a significant jump in online inquiries, plans to offer fully digitized financing options for car buyers, according to a senior company executive. The country's largest maker that sells on average 1 of every 2 cars sold in the company, folks, 1 of every 2 cars, has seen digital inquiries spike to over 45% during the lockdown months. A nationwide lockdown that was imposed on March 25 to curb spreading of coronavirus infections and various relaxations have been done starting mid-May. Auto sales have been significantly impacted due to the pandemic and subsequent lockdowns that have also resulted in disruptions in economic activities. During and after the lockdown were lifted, we have seen instant acceleration in digital inquiries. Today, digital is contributing to nearly 35% of inquiries. And during the lockdowns especially, we saw more than 45% of our inquiries coming from digital channels only. This was only 13% in financial year 19 and 5% in financial year 18. Today, digital inquiries have become the largest medium of inquiries, Srivastav said. Elaborating on how Maruti is going about its digital drive so that they can provide a more personalized experience to customers, he said the company has set up a content management system. Well, that's good news for Maruti. Apple iPhone confirmed to be delayed. Apple confirms new iPhones won't arrive in September. This isn't the first delay after all. Apple has confirmed it's planning to launch its new iPhones a little later this year. Last year, we started selling new iPhones in late September. This year, we expect supply to be available a few weeks later. Well, of course, coronavirus has disrupted global supply chains, said Apple CFO Luca Maestri in an earnings call with investors today. The Wall Street Journal reported earlier that Apple had delayed mass production of its upcoming iPhone handsets by around a month. Qualcomm also hinted at an iPhone delay earlier this week, highlighting a partial impact from the delay of a global 5G flagship phone launch for its fourth quarter projections. Apple typically unveils its annual iPhone refresh in September and begins shipping devices before the end of the month. It is not clear if devices won't be ready until October, but Apple could still choose to unveil its new handsets during the event in September. Well, here's what could happen, folks. Apple could unveil the devices in September, and it could go on sale 2 months after that. That seems like a possibility. This isn't the first time that Apple has delayed shipping of an iPhone. The iPhone 10 was announced alongside the iPhone 8 in September 2017, but didn't arrive in stores until November due to production issues. Apple iPhone XR was also announced in September 2018 and hit stores in October after reports suggested that Apple was having issues with LCD display production. Huawei overtakes Samsung as top handset maker thanks to robust China sales. China's Huawei Technologies snatched the title of biggest smartphone seller from Samsung Electronics in the second quarter, underscoring the resilience of China market even as global demand for phones plunged amid the pandemic. Well, one thing that China has in abundance is population, and that is the reason that so many people are buying Huawei devices. Also, there is a sentiment of made in China, buy in China. They don't want foreign made products. Hence, they prefer locally made companies. I hope this sentiment is sort of instilled in the people of India as well. You should also buy made in India products instead of made in China. Huawei shipped 55.8 million devices in April-June period, trumping Samsung's 53.7 million, according to data from research from Canalys. The Chinese company has felt the heat of US sanctions that have disrupted its business overseas. But the latest numbers show its rising dominance in its home market. Huawei now sells 2/3 of its handsets in China, which took an early hit from the coronavirus pandemic, but has since reclaimed ground as new cases have dwindled. Smartphone makers dominant in other countries are still struggling as new virus cases continue to rise. Huawei sales fell 5% from the same quarter a year earlier, while South Korea's Samsung posted a 30% drop due to weak demand in key markets including Brazil, United States, and Europe. Well, the final news of the day. PUBG Mobile announces major changes to data storage and privacy policies in India. The last few months have seen the Indian government take a strict stand against apps of Chinese origin. Earlier, the government banned 59 apps, including TikTok, Hello, Vigo, CamScanner, and stuff, and 275 apps were under scrutiny. Now, Tencent Games has published PUBG Mobile's privacy policies for India. PUBG Mobile is reportedly part of the 275 apps that were under scrutiny. The updates in its privacy policy brings a couple of changes to PUBG Mobile players in India. For those worrying about data storage policies, there's some good news. PUBG Mobile will store all of its player data in Indian servers for the Indian players. PUBG Mobile will now store all of its player data in Indian servers for Indian players. I've repeated because I want to emphasize on this sentence. This data includes all your account information, location, transaction details, and more. The game is notifying its players through a notification. The game also has dedicated support team including engineers and others located in India. Hence, all the game-related issues for the Indian servers will be solved internally rather than handling it over to the global team. Apart from data storage, PUBG Mobile has also listed its updated privacy policies. Our servers are located in India in case of users located in India only, Singapore, Hong Kong, and the United States. Well, that's good news. Well, that's it, folks, for today. I'll be back with another video tomorrow. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you liked what you saw, please give this video a thumbs up. Comment if you'd like me make videos on a particular topic. Share this video with your friends and family. This is your host, Tejasvi Kapoor, signing off.